Hey guys, just finished watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 19, Option 2. What an episode for this. Now this, I've already seen Avengers Infinity War, just saw it last night. My review is up there, not spoiler. And also we'll be seeing it again. So going into this episode, I was interested to see what connections we're going to get for Avengers Avengers Infinity War in this episode, but also going in knowing that next week's episode should be the really connected episode to the movie, because this episode, originally the movie was supposed to be released on May 4th, which would be next week's episode. So we might get something on the May 4th when we've seen it, or if people are technically watching, because some people might watch the episode before watching the movie, since it actually comes out the same exact day. The episodes, we might have to wait till the one after that, which will be the 11th when that comes out, and that'll be the actual season final episode, which it'll be, we still have one left. So I think today's episode is option 2. The next episode is the one who will save us all, and then there's the force of gravity. So they don't really tell us too much about what they're, but they're obviously not going to spoil Avengers Infinity War in those things. But we're not going to get into any spoilers for the Avengers Infinity War movie, but there are some reference to it. So we start off with this episode with Yo-Yo and Daisy kind of not happy with each other in a yelling match. Deke thinks believes that he's from the multiverse type theory, that he's immune to the fact that if they change time, that he'll blink out of existence. But at the same time, Fitz and Simmons believe that if he doesn't blink out of existence, they don't know how to tell whether or not they've changed time. So I think that's really going to be a cool idea to see him do different things. Maybe Deke does something that changes time that ends up affecting time and stuff. And I think that's really going to be cool to play with all that, the timeline. So the aliens arrive, and I was thinking about the aliens throughout this episode, thinking about, from what I've seen in Avengers Infinity War and stuff, and they obviously don't look anything like them. They don't look anything like the character, the aliens from the trailers or anything like that. So that's why I was thinking those don't really connect. And then we see that Coulson accidentally locks down the bunker and sets it up for 15 years, but that doesn't really last long, the whole episode. And then there's a reference when she's meeting up with, what's the guy's name? Tony Kane, the Candyman. When she's meeting up with him, he mentions, you see what's going on in New York, which is obviously a reference to what happens in New York City. Now, not to spoil anything in Avengers Infinity War, but to me this is based on the beginning of the movie, or at least the scenes that we see in the beginning of the movie. Imagine that takes place throughout the whole movie in New York. We're only in New York a little bit for the beginning of the movie, whatever. So it's reference to a bit of the beginning of the movie. I think that's really going to be cool to see that, and to see a bit more. All it is a reference to it, kind of teasing what it is. So I guess if the movie had originally come out on May 4th, that would have been a cool teaser. Like, oh my God, what's happening in New York? We're going back to New York type of thing. And I think that's a really cool idea. How Daisy kind of just puts it off, like, oh, we don't have time to deal with this. They got that, I think it would have been cool to see something, some of that reference. Maybe we're not going to see. Maybe it's the really beginning of everything that goes on in that's happening there, like exactly what time and where are we at in the movie. It would be cool to get, time wise, exactly how early is this. And I think that would be quite interesting to see where things are going. I think it would be, I think if they could use some of the clips from the trailer, it would have been cool to see them actually in here, whether it's on a news broadcast or things like that. So clips that we've already seen from trailers, just put them in here, but as like news broadcasts, things like that. I think that would have been an interesting idea. But the reference is pretty cool. Hopefully we get a little bit more in the next episode or the one after that. So Daisy ends up getting from the Candyman, he gets the Centipede Project, the one that John Garrick was a part of, and the one that actually created Deathlock, the original version from the pilot episode of the show. So I think that's really cool, bringing it all around to that. And I think that's really going to be quite interesting to see where things go. I think it's going to be quite cool to see where things kind of continue on from here. So I think it's going to be quite fun to see how that goes and how things are going to go with that. Then Talbot ends up icing Simmons and ends up hopping into the gravitonium chamber and gravitoning himself, type thing, and injecting himself with the gravitonium, which ends up injecting himself with about 100% of them. Now, that's quite interesting because then he comes out and he starts killing all the aliens and takes off with Coulson, just lifts up a piece and breaks them out and kind of just takes off. And then it looks like in the trailer for next week's episode, he hops onto the alien spaceship where he starts, taking over the ship. But that's an interesting idea because the last two people who even touched the gravitonium, like when Creel tried to touch them, but he also tried to absorb them because that's his powers, is absorbing stuff. So it's a bit different than just if he had just touched the gravitonium. But, he had tried to absorb it and it messed him up, and it messed Ruby up because he had the voices in the head. Does that mean that Ian Quinn and Dr. I can't think of, but that doctor who originally fell into it in season 1, when they are they no longer in the gravitonium, and they're they were like bits and pieces of them were in Creel, and then the rest were in Ruby when she absorbed 8%, which would be interesting to see. Did Ruby get 8% and then Creel? How much percentage did Creel get, and then how much percentage left did Talbot left? I mean, he got 100%, but if you had all the bits and pieces that was in Ruby and that absorbing man absorbed, would that be only like 97% type thing? And they took an equivalent, or like a little bit more than that. They'd be like 89%. And they took 8, and the other one and Creel took 3%. That would be quite cool to see that, to get an idea of exactly how much people have of what, to seeing that how much is still there, and should Talbot still be going crazy with the voices inside his head type thing. I think that could be quite cool to see that. So Talbot ends up killing all the aliens and taking off. Then at the end, Daisy ends up going to a grave and digging it up, and I couldn't really read the name, but I'm assuming it's John Garrick's grave. Which is interesting with that. I find that weird that they're doing that, especially with the actor passing and stuff. I don't know if it's anything, but it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here, and who they find out, and what that missing ingredient she's looking for will be. I think that'll be quite cool to see where things going with this. I think it's going to be quite fun to see where things go. So all in all, I'm really excited to see where things go with this in the next episode. I'm hoping in the next episode, if not the one after that, that we get a connection to the ending of Infinity War. I think that could be quite cool to see where things go. The ending of Infinity War is such a well, I'm not going to say anything, but it's just has a very big potential to it should affect this, since this is in the cinematic universe, and that's the one good thing going with it. And Marvel did say that they didn't let Marvel and Disney did tell ABC, no, you can't cancel this show. We need you to keep the show going. And I'm hoping that the reason is because they must have a connection to Infinity War, and also there's the whole fact that Clark Gregg is going to be in Captain Marvel. But it's really going to be cool to see where things go from here. I definitely can't wait to see where things go, and I'm really, 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 really hoping for an Avengers Infinity War connection. Now, I could see this, since we're so close to the end. We're on episode 19, and we're going to go to 22. So I could see the the end of the episode. They deal with everything. They finish all of the storyline, and they finish because there's a lot that happens in Infinity War. So they could say that the end of Infinity War, the fallout of Infinity War, only happens at the end of this season, the end of the episode. That could totally happen. That could totally work out worthwhile, and just stretch out. These last 3-4 episodes all take place during Infinity War. There's no telling how really there's no reason why they can't say that happens. I could see them doing that and having the effects kind of slowly affect it for the season final. So they finished all their stuff. They finished everything, they find a way to keep Coulson from dying. They find a way to break time, and maybe Deke disappears, and then they find a way, and maybe Deke doesn't disappear or whatever. And they find a way to stop the Earth from shattering, and creating that dystopian future. And then just when they find out, they figure that all out and everything's done, and it seems like they've stopped the inevitable reality. They've broken time. Then is when things kind of just mess up, and I think that could be quite an interesting idea to see where things go for here. So I think it's going to be cool to see where things go. I definitely can't wait to see where things are going to continue on from here. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see, and I could see where things go. But I'm hoping by the end of the season we get some sort of Avengers Infinity War connection, more than just that reference, because just that reference was not enough. But I'm assuming that I feel like there has to be something there, because if you watch Infinity War, you know that there's big huge way that it can affect the S.H.I.E.L.D. show. And I think that really is going to be cool to see that, and I hope it also affects not only to the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, but also Luke Cage coming out. How did that work out? Now, with them being very very guarded with the script, not even letting the actors in Infinity War know what's going on. I mean, with there's easy way. With the way Infinity War ends, they could have just told the writers of S.H.I.E.L.D., the writers of the Luke Cage show and stuff, all the stuff that are inside of Infinity, inside of the MCU, just not exactly what happens, but just the results of it, and how it would affect their show, how it would affect the universe in total. And I think that way is quite an interesting idea to play with. But at the same time, since they didn't let the actors, they barely let anyone read the script, it's going to be cool to see how things kind of connect from here, and I hope we get some sort of connection. I would be disappointed if they don't give a connection with this, because we haven't had a really good connection to the movies since Winter Soldier, and I would need something that level or even bigger than that in terms of connecting and affected by the movies type thing. So hopefully we can get something. I definitely can't wait to see where things go from here. Maybe we have to wait to the season final, or the last episode 22. But we'll have to wait and see, since it is called The End. So we'll have to wait and see where things go from here. But until then, I'm going to go watch Infinity War again tomorrow, and then the next day. So let me know what you think, guys, in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will probably be my my spoiler review for Avengers Infinity War. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. And I'll also be talking about how it might affect S.H.I.E.L.D. with spoilers in the spoiler review. So if you want to check that out, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?